girl Lana here. Welcome back to 3 Degrees of Love Divination. So, so today I wanted to share with you the decks that I have been currently working with. What decks are currently in rotation for me, and what decks I'm going to be putting away, or have already put away, I should say, too. So, yeah, so I did start reading with my cards. However, yeah, okay, hold on. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about today is, so I have since I have gotten into tarot reading and have started combining tarot into as using it as a tool to enhance my therapy, work, my own with personal journey and therapy, to address my anxiety, to address relationship dynamics, things that I've gone through and are healing from. And so I actually have a bunch of questions that because in that amount of time that I've been using tarot, combining that with my own spiritual journey and a therapy sessions and practices, excuse me, excuse me, oh my god. Okay, so ever since maybe the last couple of days, I have seasonal allergies kicking in. So I have, in the last couple of days, have been going on a sneezing fit every so often. So please excuse me as that may happen and come up. But yeah, so of course, being in the tarot community and, excuse me. Okay. Hang on with me, okay. I've accumulated quite a bit of decks. And I was just this week rotating out some decks, looking at what I wanted to work with this year, what I wanted to work with next, that kind of thing. Anyway, and so if you haven't seen my previous videos and the periodic ones that I've done with what's currently in my rotation, by all means, be sure to go check that out. But as now that I've already, accumulated quite a bit of decks, thanks to this wonderful tarot community, how we all love to enable each other here with deck reviews and things like that. I've also, as I've been, doing my own reflection and collecting and stuff, I've also found there's been a number of decks that I feel are very therapeutic in the way that they are outlined, the guidebook even, and things like that. So I came up with questions that I wanted to review with you guys, and even as I go through my own collection as well. So and maybe even show you some of the decks that I plan on working with and how I plan on using it according to the questions, and to help me formulate my own and narrow my own tarot practice and the decks and collections that I have as well. So so let's start with the decks that actually I want to start with the Poesis Oracle, because this deck, the Poesis Oracle, is a deck that I got not that long ago. I've been working with for a while, and I feel like is a deck that is perfect for, you know, anyone wanting to enhance any sort of therapy practice, using this in the therapy sessions, or even just to your own self-reflection on your own. Now, if you're dealing with, because as I am a social worker, I am, you know, I did burn out in my field, and I am a mental health advocate. You know, any tools and stuff that I feel sort of contributes to bettering myself, understanding myself and my emotions better, and being able to even reflect on and identify patterns within my life. I find this very helpful. So now this is also, I would say, I kind of wanted to do what they call, excuse me. So as this is therapy and tarot, I did start a little while back where I was looking at therapy and the arts as well. So, you know, poetry and tarot, for example, was another theme that I had kind of started and was looking at enhancing as well, and can, you know, elaborating more, doing more videos on even music and tarot, if you will, as well. So I feel like this deck is themed that way to go to pretty much be along those very lines, and, you know, the arts and tarot. So I figured we'll look at it. The Poesis Oracle. This is by Andrea Wen, and I'll have it linked in the description so you can check it out too. And also there is a separate book, which is a poetry book, and verses. And what I really like about using this deck too, and along with the companion book, is the fact that not only do the cards, I feel, give you that anchor for, you know, certain topics that you can elaborate on, because this is an oracle deck that you can by all means use, you know, if there are various things that you want to look at. So we'll take a look at the Poesis Oracle. So it comes in a 2-piece box, right? That. It has this fold out. Looks like this. And one of the things that this is also a 77 card deck. So it's actually the poetry is by Megan King. And it's created by Andrea Wen, as I said. The Poesis is a collection of 77 cards that is designed to call us within when we have questions, trusting that we already have all the answers in the center of our being. The cards combine art and poetry to help cultivate one's own intuitive abilities when it comes to decision making, knowing that our intuition can be a dependable source of guidance. Yeah, and knowing that, um, especially when it comes to, those who are dealing with childhood trauma, and depending on how far back the trauma goes, you can really throw off your intuition, right? Especially if you felt like you didn't have a voice, and other people were trying to overpower you, and you're learning how to create that relationship with your own inner knowing again. So these are the backs of the cards. And welcome if you're just joining, and if you happen to be catching this on playback, thank you so much. Yeah, and so you get a title card, if you will, and then it has like the creator on the back, and each of these. So of course I've already put this one away. I've been using this for some time, throughout the month of January, I think, and even February. So yeah, and then so all the cards are in alphabetical order. So we have abundance, we have balance, birth, blockage. Oh, wait, what am I doing? A boundary. So as you can see, the cards are yes, with the illustrations, but also with the one key word. I feel like, if you were like to do a reading and you wanted to journal and do your introspection, not only are you looking at what is on the card and reflecting on what that means to you, but the fact that it has a key word as well. So abundance. So let's say, I'm pulling a card. What's something that I need to, to either focus on, or that I may be struggling with, and I want to, get a better understanding on blockages, or what I can do to enhance, or whatever the case may be, right? So, and then, being able to pull your tarot cards for clarification, and something that you could also do when working with clients if you're a therapist. I know that Drea Bloom, who I've interviewed, who's a psychotherapist, and combines tarot in her therapy practices, has written books about it, and all of the books that Drea has, I absolutely love. There's the one that I feel is the one that I enjoy the most, and that's because I think it's the one that I use the most, and that's the Tarot Activity book, which I don't have to show you right now, but if you haven't seen my interview that I've done with Drea, and some of the other videos that I've done using the activity please go and check that out. You will find that in probably in on my channel, but you'll find it under the playlist of my therapy and tarot series, and yeah, my interview with Drea, like I said, right? So that's the Poesis Oracle, and if I mean, I will most likely do a top down later on for you to really show you all the cards of the Poesis Oracle, but for now, that's just yeah. Also, hold on. So I'm going to show you the book, because I feel like when doing things, like when combining decks within my practice for and combining that with therapy, like I said, this is a really good one that I really enjoy. I've really enjoyed using, and I would say I would put this deck in even in the category with the Reclaim Oracle by Marianne Vasquez. If you haven't seen my interview that I've done with Marianne on the Reclaim Oracle, or any of the walkthroughs or side-by-side comparisons to the different editions, please go and check that out. That's one of my top favorite decks to work with, especially when doing therapy and tarot together. And of course, anything that I recommend, I will always, if you're dealing with addiction, you're dealing with mental illness, please seek out professional assistance, and be sure to check out my description box, because there you will find links to some mental health services as well. So here's also the book, and so every poem has, or sorry, every card has an adjacent poem to go with it. So we have, okay, let's pick. Okay, so Give. Here's it has a picture of the card itself. So here's the picture, Give, and Give. May you look upon this sky and feel nourished by the cover of another, while being so wonderfully alone. May you play in a magnificent musical garden full of 1,000 silk and velvet tunes. May you sing these gifts against the tapestry of the night and help pass a smile to some other soul. May it fill you with a delicious feeling of peace, because, darling, what else matters? I absolutely love that. And I feel like it's very reflective. It gives you a lot to unpack introspectively. What do the words mean to you when you read them? What stands out most to you? So I want to get into the questions, because as I go to refine my my tarot and oracle collection, really is sort of diving into what decks I enjoy and why, and how I would categorize them, right? Okay, so I came up with about 7 questions. Entry point. Okay, so this will address the relationship to the deck. What drew me to this deck originally? So, most of my decks, I would say, what drew me to certain decks, Now, if I was addressing the Poesis Oracle, what drew me to the Poesis Oracle? Well, besides me seeing it pop up on TarotTube, I would also say it would be the black and white art, as well as the keywords on the cards. And of course, now I'm a lover for poetry, so anything that is poetry adjacent, poetry books, cards that, you know, have some sort of theme to poetry, I absolutely love, right? So that was what I would say initially drew me to this deck. And even, I guess, yeah, the artwork, right? Because the artwork, for example, like, look here, right? It's very abstract. So there's a lot of things intuitively that you can pick up in the imagery on this card. And I do have quite a few decks like this. And I feel like even with the illustrations being monochrome like this, it's yeah, there's a lot that can be said, you know, about, so for example, here, yeah, we have guide, we have the direction that is, you know, that seems to be the original or the, what's the word? The vision, a direction, right? That maybe somebody wants to go, but then we have other options that are maybe now sort of on the path moving forward, that could either be distractions, could either be opportunities, right? So there's a lot to unpack as you go through the cards. And what did I just do to, oh, there we go. Okay. Question 2 is here. Archetype and pattern recognition. So so basically asking and sort of figuring out what kinds of personal patterns does this deck help me notice? Does it highlight behaviors, emotional roles, repeating dynamics, right? And that's something that, you know, again, I could use to reflect on all the decks that I have within my collection, and you know, when I want to curate it a little bit more, so I, you know, I'm not, you know, entertaining or having an influx of decks that aren't being used. Right now, I guess, as I continue to explore, yeah, I have an exuberant amount of decks in my collection, and, you know, with the talent of so many people, you know, that are coming forth and diving into and have already been a part of, you know, tarot community, you know, are seeing the benefits of using tarot as a tool for tarot, oracle, any other forms of divination as tools for introspection, not just fortune telling, right? While that's still a tradition as well, but there's still so much more to it than that. Really, you know, being able to dive into our own psyche to better understand ourselves, the different aspects of self, you know, our patterns and whatnot. And even as we grieve. So, you know, as I have spoken about before, you know, and even in some of the past videos that I've done, I've created spreads, you know, to work with when, you know, using cards, especially when addressing things like grief. And for someone like me who has, you know, been hit with repetitive grief, long-term complex grief, you know, among other things, that's one of the 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 tarot and oracle, on top of, you know, what I've already been doing for myself spiritually, what I've also been, you know, engaging with in therapy, has also been very helpful in helping me to sort through and understand thought patterns, triggers, underlining issues and things that maybe I never considered before, right? All of this has been helpful in unpacking the various aspects of self. So, yeah. So now the third question would be reflective depth. Does this deck encourage surface interpretation or deeper introspection? Then of course, and then I mean, under this section I do have, you know, other prompts. So does the deck show does it allow for curiosity? Does it invoke clarity? What, you know, what is it about the deck? So, and I'm going to show you some of the other decks. So, I have been working with, and still working with, this is the Guardian of the Night Tarot, by MJ Cullinane. And this deck, well, this was originally indie. Most of MJ's decks have pretty much, I think, started as indie decks, and then some of them have been picked up mass market, like this one. So it's this one's being published by Hay House right now, and these are some of the cards. So it's a bigger deck, almost oracle size. These are the backs, and I feel like, because as we're not coming into spring, and although spring-ish type weather, yes, no, maybe so, bipolar, if it will. I mean, I am a mental health advocate and all, and you know, if you understand, you know, the concept of bipolar disorder, I look at Mother Nature seeming to suffer from bipolar disorder, because she never can make up her mind on what the weather is going to be from day to day. You know, especially when we're in the transition months, like, you know, like right now it's supposed to be, you know, spring-ish, coming into, you know, the is it spring equinox, right? And it was like summer weather, like just a few days ago, like 18 degrees and whatnot. And then all of a sudden it's calling for snow now. So like Monday, it was like plus, you know, double temperature weather. And then now we're expecting snow at the end of the week. Bipolar much? Weather? Okay. And not to make light of, you know, mental illness, bipolar disorder is anyone who suffers from that could attest to how difficult it is to live a life when your emotions are constantly fluctuating from one polarity to another, and how, you know, disruptive that can be on the nervous system. So yeah, but yeah, so here are the cards. So this deck is not in order. I've got Nine of Cups here. To me, this really speaks the idea of, and I really like that we have a peacock, because it's a wish fulfillment, peacocking, like how a peacock is very boastful. The male peacocks, of course, well, because I forget what the females are. I think they're peahens, aren't they? Peahens. I think that's what they're called. But anyways, and the peacocks, when they are looking to, I guess, attract a mate, if you will, that's the idea of when they spread their feathers, they're really stepping into, their selves and showing off, this, look at what I have, look at me, woohoo. That's a peacock, right? Same thing can be said for us as humans. We have our own version of peacocking, showing off. The Four of Cups, which I can't remember what creature that is. I want to say an armadillo, but don't quote me on that. And the guidebook. I love MJ's guidebooks because I feel like it goes into a very self-reflective. It's not just about giving you the meanings of the cards in the sense of, okay, well, the Four of Cups means, being tight with your emotions, or being stuck in like, I don't know, contemplation or whatever, right? It is, it's very detailed, the way that she explains it. So I'll read the Four of Cups so you can you get a better understanding of what I'm talking about. Okay, so in the passage for Four Cups, as MJ writes it here, Four Cups, we have, there was a great deal of news regarding the, so pangolin and potential ties to the coronavirus during March 2020. Oh, look, aren't we in March? Except this is 2026, so talking about 6 years ago now. Wow, time flies, eh? Doesn't it? Okay. Admittedly, I didn't know much about this truly unique and reclusive creature other than it was prized for its meat in some areas of the world. The pangolin, as a method of hiding from poachers, rolls itself into a ball. Sadly, though, by doing this, the pangolin is more manageable to catch and transport. For a creature so coveted, there isn't much information out there other than it is known for its hard, scaly exterior. An exterior that those of considerable means once used to create battle-ready armor. Despite the limited information, when it came time to make the Four of Cups, I knew exactly who would fit this energy. When the Four of Cups appears, you may be allowing emotions to drive you into a defensive position. Afraid of exposing your feelings or being vulnerable, you may feel inclined to curl up in a ball, go within, and isolate yourself from others. During this time, your sole focus is only your needs, your desire to avoid discomfort, your fear of being exposed, and much like the pangolin, your first instinct may be to hide. You may tell yourself that the world around you can wait until these emotions subside. If you use this time to your advantage, you may discover a new perspective or see your situation from a different angle. However, if you use this time purely to escape reality, you will find only stagnation. Or worse, someone may catch on to the fact that you are avoiding something. You may also want to consider if you are letting your emotions cloud your vision. Are you missing a significant opportunity? The pangolin offers its large, protective keratin scales to help you create space to be alone, a place for you to go within and consider your next move. Pangolin protection, going inward, curling up, introverted. So, yeah, I love the way that MJ writes her guidebooks. This is, like I said, this is the Guardian of the Night Tarot. This is a very animal-based deck. And, you know, as we are approaching spring, and, you know, we are all, including animals, plants, everything is coming out, waking up, coming out of hibernation. So yeah, here's the High Priestess, the Ten of Wands, Page of Pentacles, the Ten of Pentacles. Yeah, so I've been, like I said, I've been enjoying working with MJ's decks, and the Guardian of the Night, and of course the tarot, and of course the guidebook. I really feel like the way that MJ writes, it's not only just it's almost, it feels story-based reflection, right? Because she's personally, not only she's talking about her own personal experience as she, you know, has created the deck, why these particular animals were chosen for each card, and also why. So again, when I go back to these questions, you know, the core questions, you know, what's the relationship that I have to the deck? What emotional or thematic tone does it carry when I sit down with it? Archetype and pattern recognition. What kinds of personal patterns does this deck help me to notice? 3, reflective depth. Does this deck encourage surface interpretation or deeper introspection? So when it comes to Guardian of the Night Tarot, I feel like, yes, this encourages deeper introspection, because not only is MJ, you know, reflecting on her experience creating the deck, so you're getting that very personal perspective, if you will, but also the way that she goes in to talk about, you know, each animal and why she feel that she chose it for the card, and why she feels it represents the meanings on that card, I feel gives that deeper introspective idea. It allows you for you to see, one of the things too when it comes to therapy practices, you know, when it comes to understanding ourselves and our emotions, when we are doing the healing work and we're trying to understand our patterns, understanding why the choices we make come out, come up or come about. And as I've spoken about this and you know, previously in other videos, you know, we all fall into various categories, right? Of trauma responses, right? So freeze, flight, fight, freeze, and fawn, right? And I forget, I feel like there was another one, and I always seem to forget it. But anyways, regardless, there are all these different trauma responses that we can fall into, right? Like for example, the bullied child can grow up to become a bully themselves, right? Because their way of reacting to situations is, I must hurt you before you hurt me, kind of, right? Defensive sort of action. But when that emotion and or we take on that persona, we can easily find ourselves falling into perpetrator mode, right? So what you experience now, you're repeating that karmic pattern again, but on the other side of things. Now, does that just creates more friction, that creates more trauma for other person, right? Which again, if we understand the law of karma and how, right? Okay. So that's why it's important to want to do the healing work. Why it's, and part of the healing work is getting to understand our emotions and why we have them, and being able to really understand the emotions means that you have to separate your emotion from yourself to really understand them. Because when the emotion is you absorb the emotion, you can't see it clearly for what it is. It creates like this blind spot, if you will, and how we operate. So even if you haven't seen me in a video I've done with my friend Michelle, she's the creator of the Mindful Wildflower, that is it's a tool, a journal with cards, that is that follows the structure of DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy. And for those that have borderline personality disorder, this is something that is very helpful, but not just bipolar disorder. Can work for any mental health conditions, even like there are various different therapy practices that, you know, that are common among the mental health community, and you know, there's CBT. But as I've gotten to know and further dive into understanding DBT, I feel like DBT is a practice that I feel kind of maybe runs a little parallel to the way that we use or can use tarot and oracle and other forms of divination, especially when we are connecting it to the introspection, the self-reflective parts of it, right? And so yeah, so that's, so something like, you know, the Guardian of the Night Tarot is good because, again, it's an animal-based deck, and when you are trying to put and understand your emotions and where they come from, they all have their own various personalities, or can, right? So and it depends on your relationship to whatever emotion, right? And however that you're able to separate that in your mind, however you can um, formulate that understanding, if you will. For me, in therapy, when it came to doing that, it was why my emotions are there, what emotions, keep coming up, remembering that all our different parts of ourselves we carry within. So right from birth into where you may be at present, all of those parts of self still exist within you. Some people try to kill them off, but or bury them. I like to look at it as they're all aspects, and they all have something to teach me about myself. And the more that I get to understand them, those aspects of self become allies for the present moment. So it's like growth, right? It's like, I don't know, badges, if you will. And so, how do you frame that for yourself in your mind? Some people, it's another way of giving voice to your intuition as well. Some people formulate that in spirit guides. Some people, might give each part a name. It's when I spoke about a while back, there was this I think Shazir Charmaine. Anyway, he has a book. I've spoken about the book before, and the understanding of saboteurs, the parts of ourselves that that have become part of our psyche, our persona, and a lot of the time they're activated by trauma. You have the judge. The judge is I would say is the ego aspect of self, and is over time is shaped by not just how you view things, but how the programming, what you were taught, how you were taught to perceive things, aspects of people, and then how people perceived you then becomes now internalized. So so that now becomes what the judge is formulated with or by, right? And so these are the parts of self that can, and known as saboteurs, because they're the parts that hinder us from our growth. They're the parts that keep us in the lower vibrations of existence. And when we can understand that, and learn why they're there, we can then make a conscious choice to change certain aspects of these behaviors, so that it's not in the driver's seat of our lives. We're now more focused in the wise mind aspect of our present self, so that when we move forward, we're moving forward with the best parts of self. So anyway, so that's why I really like the Guardian of the Night Tarot, and working with that, again, with the animal, the animal adjacent, understanding the personality of various animals as well, and how we may have and contain those instincts within ourselves too. So the next deck that I'm also working with is the Forhaxa Tarot. This is another MJ Cullinane deck. And this deck is, this edition that I have is the indie version of this deck. But it's now been published mass market. I believe the publisher is also Hay House, but it's called the Enchanted for Hoxa Tarot in the mass market version, whereas in the indie it's just for Hoxa Tarot. Yeah. So journey through the magical land of Forhoxa, a Swedish for to enchant, cast a spell, and bedevil. This is a realm where dark and light collide, where the elements hold court, where we find ourselves connecting to a force outside of our own. So this is a very fairy-based type of deck. But again, the way the guidebook is written, it's very introspective, very reflective in the way that that MJ writes. It gives you the opportunity to sort of dive into the world of Forhoxa, and right? And I feel like as you're diving into the world of Forhoxa, you're diving into the realms of your own psyche. So yeah. So I really like that. Here's the guidebook, and I'll show you the cards. So this version of the deck that I have, I believe it's different card stock than what is in the mass market. I think the card stock is more of a matted, in the mass market is more of a matted, similar to that of the Guardians of the Night Tarot. But however, the version that I have and absolutely love is linen. So it's got that same smooth sort of shuffling, if you will, very much like a playing card deck, except it's more of an oracle size. So yeah. And let's see, I'm gonna pull a card from this one. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. No sneezing! Can't deal with the sneezing fits today. Okay, so let's see, what do we have for the collective today from the Forhoxa? Let's see, what do we have from the Forhoxa for the collective today? Oh, okay. Ooh, 7 of Fire. 7 of Fire. So I feel like this really gives that understanding of why we do shadow work. So there's the 7 of Fire, which is the equivalent to the 7 of Wands here. And usually with the 7 of Wands, we're battling in defense of our selves. And to me, in this looks like someone who is rising above and is addressing and their own shadows. The shadow creatures that you're seeing here, and this person is elevating. So that idea, when I spoke about raising our frequency and about doing the healing work, so that we're not stuck in survival mode, we're not repeating karmic cycles of trauma. Because we're addressing the shadows within our own psyche, the parts of self that hinder us from growth, overall growth, not just within ourselves, but within our families, within our communities, right? Within society as a whole. Again, I talk about the fact that we're in a global mental health crisis and why it's so important for us to take accountability and do the introspective shadow work. Because when we don't, these shadow bits wreak havoc, not only with ourselves, but within ourselves and within each other. Spiritual warfare is a real thing. And that comes out of the parts of self that go unhealed. And when they go unhealed and they get on the defense and they grow and they fester, right? These shadow beings become stronger, have a tighter grip on our psyche, on our sense of self, and then how we move about in the world with one another. So that's the Four Hawks of Tarot. And so, you know, as I was talking about the reflective depth of a deck, right? Practical integration. How do I actually use... Oh, my light went off. That's what happened. Practical integration. How do I actually use this deck in a reflective session? Does it pair well with journaling, therapy work, or meditation? What kind of inner conversation does it tend to start? So, the next deck that I wanted to show you guys and talk about, that I'm currently working with, is the... And actually, this creator, I'm using both of their decks right now too. So this is the... give me a second here. Let me grab the boxes so that you can see. Okay. And this is a deck I've spoken about before on my channel a while back, and after, you know, years of you know, going through grief process, you know, like I said, it's about 13 years of continuous grief. 2013 is when I would say it all started for me. My OCD got really bad. I was not really sleeping well. I was doing a lot, planning a wedding, taking care, like, you know, of clients that have brain injuries. That was my professional job at the time. But also when my grandmother had a fall, and then a major fall, and then same week my other grandmother had a stroke, and then passed 2 weeks later, and then it's just, you know, snowballing from there with stuff. Anyways, and then as I got into working with tarot and oracle, and that became more of a thing as I was combining that with my therapy practices and whatnot, and then I started to do decluttering, I came across a photo album that I had made for my late grandmother, and where I had it, it was like it was something that I hadn't seen again for a while, because I put it away for safekeeping, and it'd been stored there for some time that I hadn't gone back to look. But it was almost like my grandmother was telling me, honey, I've been with you all this time. I've been here all along. watching you heal, watching you, experience life, experience pain, um, and fight your way through the turmoil and do the healing work and the introspection, and building that, building myself back up again. So, and the deck that that around that same time that came out, and I felt was solidifying that thought process that I had, was the deck created by none other than Kara Simmons, and illustrated by Mari in the Sky. And if you know Mari, is the creator of the Gentle Tarot, which is also a deck that I'm currently working with as well. If you haven't seen my last live where I did a tarot spread for chronic illness, I did use the Gentle Tarot to go through that spread with you, as well as the newest companion deck, My Friend Fire, also created by Mari. Where is the and I know I'm jumping ahead in this in the decks, so of what I'm showing you, but because I'm kind of going in the order that I have my decks laid out. So anyways, so this is the same illustrator as these decks, but Kara, if you haven't seen her before, Kara was very sweet to be a part of my very first Belle Let's Talk Day video that I did, kind of back when I started this channel too, and of course you can check that out in the playlist with all my Belle Let's Talk Day videos. It's the very first one, and was among other tarot creators, and we were all discussing mental health and therapy practices, and how you combine, divination into that process for healing and introspection. And so this is a 66 card oracle deck called Song of the Grandmothers, and it's a very nature-based deck as well, perfect for this time of year, even because we have plants, we have flowers, we have insects, we have animals, so very, very nature-based. And this deck, here we have Grandmother Horse Volunteer, and on the card we have Honorable Heart. Your willingness to carry lightens the world's load. And I feel like this is just now, I didn't shuffle this deck, but this deck is already shuffled because it's in my current rotation. So to have this card at the bottom of the deck, it's like, I feel like it's confirmation to what I feel like what my channel is all about, what 3 Degrees of Love divination is all about. Volunteering ourselves to be karmic cycle breakers, to bring healing. Hi, welcome. Thank you for joining the 7th Sun. Thank you for being here. Yeah, and when you choosing love and light, in spite of all the pain and atrocities that's in and of this world that you've personally have had to probably endure yourself, and you still wake up every day leading with heart, leading with authenticity, with integrity and loyalty, rather than closing yourself off. You know, this is something that I've thought about repeatedly, that I'm constantly thinking about, because after 40 years, I'm 43, by the way. I'll be 44 this year. But for 40 years, being an empath, not knowing the truth of my empathic abilities, because I was never really raised, I was brought up in religion, right? And so, you know, exploring sort of free spirituality wasn't something that was part of my upbringing, you know, but it was always there, even though I never really utilized it. But 40 years of being the black sheep, the scapegoat, the middle person, the triangulated one, being a child thrown in the midst of adult challenges, adult feelings and relations, being adultified at an early age, that sense of hypervigilance, being the peacemaker, the peacekeeper, the referee, that takes a toll after a while. 40 years of it, no less. And then doing it to the fullest capacity, my nervous system stuck in overdrive, has been stuck in overdrive. And then after the last 13 years of my life of constant grief, hit after hit after hit, one after another, and yet I still wake up every day and choose love and light. There's a reason for that. Because I made the promise to myself, to God, our maker, universe, whatever it is, that whatever the world threw at me, it will not win at taking my essence, the truth of my essence, away from me. The light that resides within my heart space, leading with my heart always, every decision I made. That's why I became, I guess, 40 years of triangulation, you become a people pleaser for a reason. But also, loving past your capacity moves into self-erasure. And so you're doing yourself an injustice. So I broke myself only to learn how to better protect myself. So, and this is the year of the horse, guys. This is the year of the fire horse. We have a horse. Okay. So, the Song of the Grandmothers is a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. So, that's horse card. We have Grandmother Humpback Whale, Impact, Majestic Tune-Up. Your vibration travels for, oh, sorry. Majestic tune-up. Your vibration travels far when you sing love's song. Yes, it does. It does. That's why I always say at the end of my videos, I am love and so are you. You just have to come back to remembering that. Grandmother Rosemary, source. More than what you see. Remember who you are here. You're from love itself. And there's a tree. And if you remember, if you see my videos, I said that they're trees. I have a connection to trees for some reason. But technically we all do. And these are beautifully illustrated cards. Grandmother Ostrich, honesty, speak direct and plain, vulnerable yet tethered to the truths you house. I'm sorry, this deck is just, to me, just spot on. And again, here are the backs. Really, to me, really speaks to the idea of understanding our chakras, color therapy, if you will. So yeah, this is Song of the Grandmothers. And I'm gonna read the one, the card for the horse. Because I want you to, again, want you guys to get the full understanding of this beautiful guidebook. Horse is 46. Okay, let me find 46 here. Okay, so grandmother horse volunteer. Okay, so we have okay. Ever in motion, grandmother horse trots towards us, keeping pace with the light wind that ruffles her mane and the grass beneath her. In the background, mountains mimic the physical strength she epitomizes, while the fall colors of the landscape symbolize her maturity. The enigmatic look in her eyes invites us to ask, how does she feel about the long day at her back? Grandmother Horse knows the satisfaction of a job well done, whether mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual. She's the first to raise a hoof for the tasks that present themselves to her, asking for a volunteer. Her shoulders are strong, her back broad, and her heart willing. Yet she also knows her limits. She isn't afraid to say no and replenish her stores as needed. It might feel thankless at times, this work you do. I have served for so long, ferrying and carrying, easing the burdens of those around me. The appreciation comes and goes, and I've learned not to rely on it to decide anything. When I'm doing what I came here to do on purpose, I know in my heart I'm living with honor, and that's enough for me. Don't worry if you're not there yet yourself. If you ever need someone to say, I see you, keep helping and serving and trusting your heart. Come back to visit me. We'll set everything down a while and just run together. Honorable heart, your willingness to carry lightens the world's load. Yes. Yes. I love that. Yeah. So that's Songs of the Grandmother, or Song of the Grandmothers, I should say. And this is this was again a deck that was initially indie and then became mass market, and is published by Hay House, I think, right? I think it's now published by Hay House Publication. Hang on. Maybe not. Okay, no. So it is Joyful Resonance. Okay. No. Oh. No, this is not the one that's mass market. This is, okay, never mind. My bad. This is not the mass market one. This is still indie. But yes. But her other deck, same creator. Kara also, and Song of the Grandmothers is the second deck, actually. The first deck that Kara did, and the art is by Amy Putney Koenig, and that's the Prairie Majesty Oracle here, and Explore Your Sovereign Nature. This is another animal plant-based type of deck as well. And sorry, give me a second here. And oh yeah, I need the guidebook. Where is the guidebook? There we go. Got it. Okay. So this is what the deck looks like. And this deck, okay. So the first bottom card that we have here, what is always mine? Box Turtle, Carrie. And this deck, I'm gonna read, let's see, Carrie. Screen. And they're categorized. This deck is categorized as well. Color coded. Where's the green? Okay. So claim is part of the claim category. Okay. So the green claim cards inspire taking back your power by activating and wielding self-authority. Okay, so that is the box turtle. Okay. So the box turtle. Box turtle is inseparable from his shell and would die without it. He always carries his best form of protection and shelter right on his back, exhibiting an intricate and beautiful pattern that is his to wear with pride. Slow and steady, he moves through the world at his own pace. Today, he wanders in to highlight what you share. You are more alike than you might realize. Like Box Turtle, you came into this world with strengths and propensities that belong to you and you alone. Acknowledging and recognizing your right to exist within them will foster a sense of safety and empowerment. They are yours. Always. You can't change them or lose them or sever them. Have patience with yourself, especially if it feels like you're not discovering or understanding your unique attributes and gifts as quickly as you'd like. There's no race, and you don't need to chase what you already have. Make time to withdraw into your own inner sanctum. Get to know yourself away from the rush and hurry of the outside world. Experience your own majesty without comparison or distraction or judgment. When you're ready to walk on, you'll do so with a more holistic awareness of all your parts and how they work together to serve your life's highest path. And I think I've been saying that all along throughout this video, especially when we talk about, doing the introspection, the therapy work, the shadow work, getting to, understand our emotions and where they originate from and why. So this is the other deck that I've been enjoying working with as well here. Prairie soil, what riches do I carry within holds? What enchants me? Delight. This is the wild bergamot plant. Prairie smoke. What reminds me I'm free? Liberate. Yeah, so that's another beautiful deck that to work with during this time of year that I've been working with and have actually been really enjoying, especially because I feel like these decks really fit into my overall practice and and combining therapy and tarot together. So practical integration, right? So 5, emotional tone and safety. Does this deck feel grounding, activating, gentle, or provocative? Is it something I can reach for during vulnerable moments or when I want to be challenged? Absolutely. And I would say that especially for the Prairie Majesty Oracle, the grounding, the gentle song of the grandmothers. Absolutely. So 6, synergy. What does this deck add when paired with others? Does it clarify, deepen, or widen the reflection? Where does it sit in a multi-deck conversation? Identity, processing, lineage, perspective. And so the next deck that I wanted to talk about that is surprisingly the way that it's fit into even with, and this is a deck that I've been working with for a little bit. I've also rotated out other decks as well to work with. But this is portraits of a woman, aspects of a goddess. So when it comes to, you know, like affirmations and I am statements and, you know, claiming, you know, particular aspects of identity and even, you know, coming to understand even, well, I guess a little bit like archetypes, but not personality, you know, sense of being, state of being. This deck is, I feel, is perfect for that. So I'm going to shuffle and pull a card for the collective from this deck. I think I showed you the box, right? Portraits of a woman, aspects of a goddess. This is a low Scarabeo publication. I think in the U.S., the distributor is Llewellyn. Yes, for low Scarabeo decks. So yeah, and of course I will. After the live, I will update the description box to have all the cards that I'm reviewing with you right now linked for you. So yeah, okay, so what do we have for the collective today from this deck? Portraits of a woman, aspects of a goddess, and understanding too that the, you know, we all carry within us the energy of the masculine and the feminine. So it's about bringing both aspects of self into balance. Not just relying on one side or the other. Okay, so the card that fell out is 37. I am different. Okay, so I'm going to read the guidebook for that one so you can get a taste too of the guidebook for this. 37. Okay. 37. I am different. I am different. Is it truly that comforting to be like everyone else? The truth is that a person that is not different from any uniform model, no matter the model, is hiding her true self. We are born unique, and we should live as unique beings. I can be different. Visualize yourself without face and features. Now, like a sculptor or a painter, build yourself, adding one piece at a time. The eyes, the hair, the nose, the lips, the clothes. Build yourself with no boundaries, and then laugh loudly. So, yeah, don't be afraid to being different, embracing what is uniquely you. Not all of it, right? Your light and shadow, your strengths, your weaknesses, right? All the quirkiness, the piggies, my piggies. Those are my feelings, personality quirks, right? That's what I've come to identify, the different aspects of self. So like the fact that I've been, you know, having a sneezing fit, you know, for the last couple of days, you know, it's like, oh, Sneezy Piggy is at it again. Oh, Sneezy Piggy, stop it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so that's oh, what happened here? Oh no, my card. Okay, part of it kind of seemed to rip. Anyways, yeah, so that's and then we have like they're all portraits of various women and with all I am statements. So here 23, I am assertive. 16, I am gentle. 1, I am free. 39, I am quiet. So, you know, I think one of the questions too, when I was talking about, hold on, where is, archetypes, it was question 2, archetype and pattern recognition. I feel, yeah, that really, you know, adheres to question number 2, portraits of a woman. I feel, yeah, personal growth lens, question 7. This is the last question for the questions, the deck review sort of questions, like I said, when going through your collection, when you're wanting to revamp your collection, or even as you are looking to bring in newer decks and you want to be more mindful of what you're bringing in, you know, questions that you can use to really decide on whether that deck is worth bringing in or keeping, or whatever the story is, right? So the next deck that I have been working with, but I think will also be a deck that will be going away soon, and that's the Master Teacher Crystal Oracle deck. The guidebook for this deck is very chunky, but what I really like, here's the box. It's a Rockpool publication. Now this is, like I said, this is a crystal deck. But black glossy cardstock, all the various crystals. It is gold gilded, this one, mass market. So we have under the deck, we have distant healing, healing transmission, 10, number 10. I'm not going to read because this is a very chunky guidebook, but what I really like about this deck is the fact that not only do you have, so you have identifying the crystal, you have crystal medicine. So I'm just going to read the crystal medicine here for this one. 10, distant healing. This crystal holds similar properties to the truth crystal and also works as a transmitter of energy. All crystals send and receive energy, but the distant healing crystal's geometry amplifies this process. As you connect to this mighty crystal, you will be aided in receiving and sending energy from one source to another. It is a great crystal to attune to when sending distance, healing, and any form of telepathic communication. Then it has a message from the Deva, and then even a ceremony sort of practice that you can use when working with this deck as well. So yeah. And then what I recently brought out to work with, and this is a deck that I've had for a while. I haven't yet to work with it. But it was as I was, changing things around in my deck collection, and I'm like, oh yeah, this deck, and this is a deck by another wonderful Canadian artist. Um, Actually, the Proesis Oracle, which I forgot to mention, by Andrea Wang, is also another Canadian creator. Um, West Coast. A lot of these creators seem to be on the West Coast. I'm on the East in Toronto. And this is by Danielle Norman, and this is the Odin's Playbook. This deck came into my collection by way of a giveaway that I won. And this deck is a deck that has surprised me. It's beautiful. It is a Norse, a Norse sort of based deck. Also, what I have come to realize is that, and no, I haven't worked with this deck yet. This is the first time, so it's all in order. But this deck has runes, apparently, that is all throughout the cards in this deck. So this is a rune-based tarot deck, actually. I'm not familiar with runes so much. I haven't really worked with runes, but this would be a great way to learn the runes system in tarot deck form. So yeah, but I'm gonna shuffle this up for the first time so that I can pull a card. Danielle has some amazing, beautiful decks that she has created to date. Unfortunately, I have yet to acquire any of the other ones into my collection, but I have been eyeing them for such a long time. Especially I think it's the walking meditation one. And then she has some beautiful photography-based seasonal decks that she's been coming out with. There's a winter one. I believe there's an autumn one. And I want to guess that eventually all the other two seasons, will be coming out as well. And I love how this deck shuffles too. Not surprising. It's got a beautiful core. It's edged in blue, in this sort of dark blue. So far, the blue is not coming off or rubbing off on my hands. There's another deck that I do have that has some bright blue edging, but that one rubs off, unfortunately. Oh, Sneezy Piggy, stand down, stand down. Don't want to sneeze. Okay. Let's see, what do we have for the collective today from this Odin's Playbook? Okay, so we have Poet of Axes. Okay, this is interesting. So I'm assuming the axes is swords from the sword suit. Poet of Axes. Okay. So I'm not sure if this is the page or the knight yet. take a look and see. Okay, so 8. The suit of axes. 5, 9. Okay, 10. Okay, so the poet is the page. Okay, like I thought, because that looks like a young child, tween, if you will. So, poet of axes. Okay, I'm gonna read here. Okay, so poet of axes. You learn through social settings and by asking a lot of questions. You invest time and energy into learning more and more. You are a truth seeker, holding truth at a high degree. You know which questions to ask to get straight to the point. A favorite question of the poet of axes is why. You love to communicate. With a thirst for knowledge, you can never have enough information attained within you. You are ready to take all this information and share it with the world. Reversed, you may be afraid to speak your truth at the moment, and so you are keeping things inside. You already have all the information that you need to communicate. Make sure to think things through thoroughly and accurately. Plan and do one thing at a time. Make promises that you know that you can keep. Be aware of presenting yourself as a know-it-all. Sometimes less talk and more listening is what is needed in the moment to gain more accurate information. And, okay. However, we don't have a rune at the bottom for this. I don't know if there's a rune on this card. Not that I can see. So maybe the poet doesn't have a rune to it. But all the other ones do. Okay, let me see if the other pages are the same. Okay, so it looks like the pages don't have runes associated with them, but all the other cards do. Interesting. So yeah, so I'm actually really excited to get, to dive into this deck more and learn more about it. Yeah, so that's the oh, look, and we have the 8 of staves on the bottom. This is the Odin's playbook tarot tale, Norse crossed out. Yeah, so I'm excited for that deck to be using that. And I've already showed you a little bit of so I'm gonna skip those. The Gentle Tarot and My Friend Fire. You can check out the video, the last live I did with the chronic illness spread. Yeah, if you want to see more of the Gentle Tarot and My Friend Fire. Yeah, so here's my Gentle Tarot in its bag, and My Friend Fire. I've already showed you the box, but here are the cards. of the newest Oracle deck by Mari in the Sky, my friend Fire. And of course, I'm with my friend Fire, and the Gentle Tarot. I am using the bigger guidebook as well. I do have that. So yeah, so that's been fun to really go through as well, to get a deeper understanding of the cards and the artwork and stuff. So yeah, so I've been enjoying that as well. And yeah, the only other deck that last but not least, I suppose, that I am still working with but will soon be going away as well, is the Symbolic Soul Tarot. This is another low Scarabeo publication, again also distributed by Llewellyn in the States. That's the box. Yeah, so that's been fun. And yeah. So, hold on, sorry. So yeah, so just to close out, as I put away some, like I said, I just pulled out the Norse deck, the Odin's Playbook, and I still have other decks that I'm currently still working with that I am looking to rotate out soon and put away. Like I said, the Symbolic Tarot, Soul Tarot, and the Master Teacher Crystal Oracle. So yeah, those will be the next that will be rotating out. So with all that being said, I hope that you enjoyed my video today, and if you're catching it on playback, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below what you thought. What were some of your favorite decks? You know, what decks would you work with? Do you have any of these decks? You know, and yeah, would these be just some decks that you might want to bring in and work with or not? Yeah, be sure to let me know, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you'll always be in the know when I post my next video. And yeah, thank you for those that joined me today, and those of you that will be catching it on playback. Thank you so much. This was enjoyable for me to do, to share with you the decks that I'm working with, why, and even as I, you know, reflect on the questions that, again, in regards to decks, this is another way that how, you know, I'll be looking to, you know, as I continue to refine my tarot collection, if you will, as I, you know, reorganize and shift things around, and, you know, again, as I'm building my tarot practice, you know, and not only for myself, but as, you know, as I'm taking this turn in another direction professionally, speaking. So thank you so much for being here, and for stopping by, and hopefully you will come by and spend some more time with me, watch some of my other videos, and look forward to whatever I come out with next. So until then, as I always say, I am love, and so are you. As I see myself as human when I look in the mirror, I know you are too. So with all that being said, please remember to take care of yourself. help to heal and support one another. And while you're at it, please don't forget about me too. Do all the things as I said before, like, share, and subscribe, comment down below, and all of that. Hit the notification bell. And if you want to see more of my tarot collection, you can follow me on Instagram, where I do have, I do regularly post what I'm currently working with, rotating out what some decks that have just arrived in my collection that I'm absolutely loving, and stuff like that. So yeah. And so until then, always remember to check your privilege and mind your magic, and always live, listen, learn. I love you so much. Take care, everybody. Bye.